What's up guys, TheOneIntegral here, and how did I get into Pokemon? Well, I can't quite remember the exact details, but I think I was probably about 10 or 11, I think it was, in primary school and lower school, whatever you want to call it around there. And I think the first experience I had with Pokemon was watching my friend play Pokemon Ruby on, obviously, his Game Boy Advance or Game Boy. I think that was my first experience with it. I don't know if I managed to play the game myself, or whether he allowed me to, or whether I was banished to just watching, but I certainly, that's sort of how I first saw it, I think. And then my parents went ahead and I got a GBA and Pokemon Fire Red for, it must be Christmas after that. I think I remember being quite baffled how, obviously it's Pokemon Ruby and then it's Pokemon Fire Red, so different games and different areas, and I was like, where's the game, where's this area I saw in Pokemon Ruby and it's not in this game? Like, I didn't understand, because Ruby and Fire Red are the same colour, so it wasn't exactly, I wasn't exactly studying the boxes or whatever, but yeah, so that's there, and then I'm pretty sure I got Emerald a bit after that. And then I think the next thing was when Pokemon Diamond came out, and I remember going to the shop and buying that myself. And then my brother got Pokemon Pearl, and then Platinum, and then and so on and so forth, guys. That's really just how I got into Pokemon. There's not much else to say. I saw a friend playing it, my parents got me the game, that's really how I got into it. I've been on and off over the years, so obviously stories of how I got back into it, but Jerry just picked up the game again and started enjoying it again. But that's that's pretty much it for me.
So I got onto Pokemon pretty much I'd say I got into Pokemon pretty much by watching the anime and collecting the TCG cards, and the ones I can actually remember collecting the most is the Neo Genesis set, the Neo Discovery set, and the Neo Destiny set. Now, I actually got onto playing the games at a later stage. I mainly watched it on, I can't remember what TV channel it was back then, but I used to get up super early to watch the original anime series, I think it's called the Indigo League. Yeah, I think it's the Indigo League, that one. And it is, I really did love it as a kid. I really liked the storyline because it went well. I liked all the characters. And actually, most importantly, I really did love the TCG. I didn't play it. I've still never played it to this day because I don't know how to. I just really used to like collecting them. And then I remember I can't remember what birthday it was, what year exactly. I think it was like 5 or 6. I got given a Game Boy Advance for my birthday and a copy of Pokemon Silver. And I kid you not, I played that game so goddamn much. I'd probably say Pokemon Silver is one of my favourite Pokemon games to this day, aside from Soul Silver, rather. And fun fact for you guys, that you can laugh at me, I actually spent around about 30 to 40 minutes running, well, not running, but walking, because you don't have running shoes in that game. There's like a patch of flowers in the bottom left of the New Bark Town. And I pretty much walked up and down in that grass, waiting for a Pokemon to pop out, because in the anime, in wild grass, Pokemon pop out. And it says in wild grass, Pokemon pop out. And at the time, I thought that was grass. And it's one of my most embarrassing Pokemon stories I have to this day. I also used to KO Pokemon. I also used to KO Pokemon, because in the anime, you used to knock out the Pokemon, then throw the Pokeball. But the Pokemon disappear when you knock them out, and you get the XP. And I didn't understand. I really didn't understand. Because I didn't pay attention to the tutorial. And then once I got pointed out to me, I was like, oh my god, I'm such a twat. So that is how I got into Pokemon.
Yo guys, PGB here. Today's Poketubers On question is, how did I originally get into Pokemon? And honestly, I don't remember. It was before I could read, it's before I could actually do anything other than just poop my pants and that sort of thing. So I'm pretty sure what happened was, the first game I ever played was Crystal, and it was on someone else's Game Boy. I think it was a Game Boy Color, I don't really remember, and he was just playing it, I was watching, and then I asked my parents for one. Obviously they didn't get me a Game Boy Color because that was old at the time. They got me a Game Boy Advance SP, which was awesome. I played so much on that, and I think that's just really how I got into it. I was never very serious about it because I was a little kid, I was just playing for it. It was an awesome game, I always liked it. It's always one of my favourite games, and then I just played it until I was probably must have been about 11, and I just stopped for a while, and then I got back into it at about 13 or so, maybe 14, and yeah, it's been a very weird journey from just finding out from my friends, really. That's the only reason I know what it is at all. Anyway, that's it for me. Enjoy the rest of the video.
How did I get into Pokemon? Well, that's actually a really good question. Back in about 2000, I was about 3 years old, and my brother had a green Game Boy with Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Yellow. and I played that a lot, but my brother always wanted to play also, so it was getting kind of annoying. So a year later, about 2001, I went ahead and asked my dad, "Hey Dad, can I get a Game Boy of my own?" And then he said, "Sure." And then I also wanted to get Pokemon Crystal, so I got Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon and a new Game Boy. And my brother also wanted Pokemon Crystal, so we got another Pokemon Crystal. So I started off with playing Pokemon Blue. That was my first game I ever played, but you know, I had to share with my brother, so I got Pokemon Yellow, and that became my own game. And we also got like a link cable, so my brother and I were able to trade with each other and stuff. And actually, it was actually really fun. So that's basically how I got into Pokemon. It's because my brother had it, and I started very young, and well, I'm still playing it till today, and it's pretty damn awesome.
So how did me, OldSchoolSin, get into Pokemon? Well, it goes back 16 years ago. Yeah, it's been that long. I was about 8 years old. But I remember watching the anime a lot, and every day after school, I would go home and watch Pokemon. And so would my brother. My brother and I were like Pokemon, like all day, every day. We still are. We still go at it with Pokemon. We still shoot the shit about Pokemon. And you know, we're both Pokemon nerds, if you want to call it. But me and him, we're watching the anime, and all of a sudden, you know, we saw the games at like there's a store called Video Games Etc. and stuff like that back where I grew up. So in like Walmart, Kmart, Target, Toys R Us, whatever, we saw the games and we're like, Mom, we want the game, we want the game, we want a Game Boy Color, we got our Game Boy Colors, we want the game, blah blah blah. And she's like, okay. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but like, I know that she bought us the game. I got red and my brother got blue for, I think it was either Christmas or our birthdays, but we both got the game. And we just started going crazy. I remember when I first picked up the game, I couldn't get off of it. Like, my mom had to take my Game Boy away from me just so I could like actually focus on schoolwork and stuff. So she put a time limit on how long we could play video games, which, I mean, looking back on it, I mean, it did me better in the long run. But you know, I'm really that's how I really got into Pokemon, you know, just watching the anime, talking to it with my brother, and picking up the game for the first time, man. It's just a great experience, and I would not trade it for anything in the world.
So I got into Pokemon when I was probably, 3rd or 4th grade, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger, but it was from my friends. They recommended that I tried out Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I went to the store, I bought diamonds, and, well, my parents bought me diamonds, and, it was a lot of fun. I played it, like, all night, and, you know, it was just a great experience, and that's just how I got to where I am today, of course, as the 4th-gen gamer, and, you know, that's how I got to where I am today.
Hey guys, I'm Moonlight Swami, and the way I started playing Pokemon was I watched the show when I was a little kid. That was really it. I watched the show, my mom bought me a game because all of my friends at camp were playing it when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I played back on the Nintendo, on the Game Boy Advance, actually Game Boy Color, then Game Boy Advance, and then, you know, SP, DS, 3DS, and here I am. That's how I started. Camp experiences, right?